Welcome back to Mark My Words, ladies and gentlemen. Got a special guest today, Spencer Richardson, man. Spencer Richardson is the head honcho of Team B-Wright and the founder of All Around Game. Unc, man, how you feeling?
Feeling great, man. Good to be on.
Yeah. Man, let's go back to your heyday, man. Let's talk about the old Maplewood days, man. Man, I can remember being a kid, 3rd, 4th grade. You know, it come Thursday, Friday, man. Like I'm sitting in my desk at Tom Joy Elementary School, man. Like, man, Unc about to let it rip tonight, man. Talk about Maplewood.
Yeah, so Maplewood High School, man. That was rest in peace, Coach Gamble.
Yeah.
You know, Coach Gamble was a legendary coach, and but yeah, Maplewood definitely, you know, made me a man. You know, you get there as a freshman, and you got some big time players in front of you. Cedric Anderson, we called him Wimp. Malito Davis. Bubba's big brother, played point guard, Antonio. So we, you know, my freshman year we had to wait our turn, but you know, when those guys graduated, you know, we stepped right in our sophomore and junior and obviously senior year and was able to do some great things.
Yeah. And you played against some stellar talent, man. I remember those games against Mario Moore, Antioch, Penny at Weiss Creek. My favorite matchup was Stratford.
Yeah.
And you know, man, those guys it was like all those guys can go, and then it was gonna play a little nasty. It was gonna be all in your face. But man, one thing that, and when this happened, I'm just like, at the time, you know, I didn't really know what was going on, but it was like, man, this, like, how big is my uncle? You get what I'm saying? And then when they did the write up on you, the shot in the dark, how was that?
It was good. I mean, we would, you know, obviously back when I was coming through, we didn't have trainers and people we could go work out with, so we would leave school and go to the neighborhood park.
Yeah.
You know, and that playing 5-on-5, that was our training session.
Yeah.
But I remember one time, I think I had a stretch where I was averaging, you know, a little over 20 a game, like 5 games straight.
Yeah.
And one of the Tennessean sports writers, he came by the house, and my auntie said, well, he's probably at the neighborhood park, so she drove him up. And we had just got done playing pickup, but I decided to just stay and just shoot.
Yeah.
You know, it was you know, it was dark, but I could still see the rim.
Right.
And you know, he asked me, you know, I told him I do this a couple times a week. Just come out here and, you know, let the sun go down, and I would just shoot and chase my rebounds. So that's how they came up with the shot in the dark. Yeah.
And I remember reading in the article, man, it was I guess kind of maybe the methodology. And you know, in the dark, you would have to focus on the rim more.
Yeah.
And then just how that translated into your game, which you were known for, not only just a shooter, but you hit some big shots and big moments in big games.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Just, you know, obviously when you're shooting, when you can barely see the rim, you definitely have to lock in on the rim more.
Yeah.
Your focus have to be there, and like I said, if you can make a shot in. And almost, you know, when it's almost dark, you know, you can surely make some shots when it's light.
Right. Transitioning into coaching and training, who or what inspired you?
Man, so I used to, you know, obviously the late great Kobe Bryant. You know, I used to go on YouTube and just watch some of his old highlights. And then when they first started, Nike used to do these little offensive breakdown moves with Kobe. And he would literally would break down like playing from triple thread and footwork and pump fakes and shot fakes. So, I mean, once I seen Kobe Bryant like actually slowing down and breaking down the game to where, like, obviously Kobe and some of these guys, they do things that only greatness can do. But a lot of stuff that he was doing in those Nike breakdowns, I mean, you don't have to be a superstar,
right,
you know, to do some of that stuff he was teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recently just watched a video on Kobe, and it was Alan Stein. Alan Stein was doing an interview, and he talked about Kobe's first camp, Kobe's first Mamba Sports Academy camp, and he got to go out there working, and you know, he was talking with Kobe, and he was like, "Hey man, you know, while I'm here, I would love to come to see you work out." And you know, Kobe was like, "Well, shoot, all right. Should meet me here at 4 a.m. And when Alan Stein got there, I want to say he got there maybe 15, 30 minutes early, whatever. Kobe was already in like a deep sweat. you know what I'm saying, in his warm-up. But the first 45 minutes of his workout, which typically, you know, I'll go work out for like an hour 15, but the first 45 minutes of his of his regimen was just something simple, Billy Basic, fundamental. And it's just, and Allenstein, he asked him after, he was just like, man, you know, Kobe, you the best player in the world. Like, why are you spending 45 minutes doing something that was just that simple? And he was just like, well, why do you think I'm the best player in the world? You know what I'm saying? You know, the flash and the betweens and stuff like that, those things are instincts, but I spend hours and hours and reps on these things because that's the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as a trainer, I guess what are some of your go-tos? I know we got the infamous the rondo count, the 10-count rondo.
Yeah.
But what are some of your go-tos as a trainer that you feel as if every kid you touch your hands on, he or she needs this?
Yeah, that's a great point. I love the rip through, you know, just catching in triple threat, you know, ripping from right to left, you know, one hard dribble, getting to the rim for a right hand layup, you know, going from right to left hand, one dribble layup. You know, I've had some of our girls in the past who they couldn't necessarily get by you with the handle,
right,
but they would catch in triple threat and they first step and they rip through was something serious.
Yeah.
And that's normally how we start most of our workouts with, you know, with a lot of rip throughs.
Yeah. Man, and we're in a day and age, man, where it seems like, and this is no knock to anybody, man. You know, I love the game and I love people who love the game, but you know, we're in an age where, you know, it's a lot of, you know, trainers out here, or somebody will pick up a basketball and pick up a phone and get on Instagram, you know, hey, I'm training, meet me at this park, this gym. And it's almost trendy.
Yeah.
Man, just talk about the grind and the come up of, you know, where you started, where it wasn't really social media, it wasn't really no phones. It was, you know, you had a stellar high school career, you played ball you played college basketball, and then you found your niche, which was player development and helping, you know, train local talent. But just talk about the grind and the come up.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, just like you said, it's a grind. I mean, I'm 15 years in as a player development coach, but you know, I've had falling outs with family, you know, over, you know, people saying that, you know, what I was doing wasn't, you know, I couldn't make a living off doing it, and I needed to go get a real job. And obviously, before, you know, I got to Brentwood Academy, you know, before they extended their gyms to me, you know, you're ripping and running across town trying to get in the gyms and some outside courts, and you know, you hadn't got kicked out of some gyms or tried to sneak in some gyms or try to work somebody out. You ain't been through that grind, you know.
Eventually, you know, you're making some noise and people are inquiring, but and obviously, you know, you guys probably had a relationship, you know, playing against one another, or both just being some of the top talent around the nation. I mean, around the city, but that eventually leads you to Brandon Wright, and you guys form a relationship. And I remember you guys. I remember watching. I think it was it Channel 5 that did a special on you guys.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so Brandon, he grew up playing basketball with, you know, our cousin Jamal Richardson, and so I knew Brandon ever since he was 10 years old, and you know, Brandon once he got to the NBA, you know, he was kind of watching what I was doing from afar when he was out there in Golden State, and he had got injured, and he you know, he had shot me a message and was like, hey man, when I get back home, I want to start working out with you. And he got home and he took like a week off, and he called me, and we hadn't looked back. Yeah.
Speaking on like finding your niche, like Mark said, I know we talked about before the camera got rolling, use the game, don't let the game use you. And I remember, I think it was on Good Morning America, Kobe, they were like, you at peace with it, like retiring? He was like, yeah, like I'm good. What do you think is the key to like still, you know what I mean, transitioning after the game? Because I know me and Mark got a class, they talked about people finding an identity with the sport, and then once it's done, it's like, you know what I mean, they don't know what to do. What do you think is key for that, and finding your niche, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, you just, you know, obviously once you're playing, you know, you want to give the game everything you have. You know, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether if it's a workout or practice. Obviously, in the games, you want to go full speed to compete at a high level. And then you just gotta, you know, you gotta become real with yourself. You know, obviously growing up, I always thought I would play in the NBA or play professionally somewhere. And you know, I like to say I went professional with something else. You know, I could have easily settled and went and got a 9-to-5 and done something that I wasn't, you know, necessarily happy about, but could have made a good living off of it. But once I started volunteering, you know, coaching some 5th grade kids years ago, you know, I knew right away, you know, this is, you know, outside of basketball, this is what I wanted to do.
And we had a kid on a previous episode where, you know, I told him, I said, dude, in about a year, you're gonna go off and play big time Division I basketball. JP Pegues at Hillsborough, and I said, man, this is something that I've had to learn as well. But you know, growing up, or even, you know, early in your journey, you know, as an athlete, we tend to just think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you ask every kid growing up, you know, what do you want to do? I want to go to the NBA. I want to go to the NFL, or whatever, you know, their respective sport is. I want to go D1. I want to do this as a third, but we tend to not think or be ignorant of the opportunities outside of basketball, football, or whatever, baseball. We tend to not think or be aware of the other opportunities that come with that, i.e. coaching or training, or even, let's take it off the court, you know, playing at a Division I school. I mean, you got boosters and fans, and, you know, you just putting on that jersey, you know, a company may hire you just because you played at Vandy. You get what I'm saying? Just put the basketball aside. You know, a company or somebody may want to you be an ambassador for their business or whatever the case may be. And even you could probably attest to, you know, as a trainer, I mean, you know, look where we're sitting right now, you know, thanks to, you know, Bob, you know, lending this home to us. Just the connection you've made just by, you know, you went from playing basketball in high school, college, now you're training. You've been able to make connections that don't necessarily have much to do with basketball, but you got that through basketball.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And so, man, that's something that I don't think is talked about enough, but I mean, you know, I think you're living proof of it.
Yeah, you know, obviously when you get a guy like myself, you know, I'm in the gym with youth all the way up to professional players. And then with us having an AAU program, a lot of the kids in our program, they train with us. Right. And, you know, we got some great families. And, you know, just like the kids, you know, once the parents see that they're dealing with straightforward people, and we're not just in it for the money, and we're not, you know, staring at kids the wrong way. More importantly, even off the court, you know, we're checking in on these kids, making sure they're doing what they need to do. So the parents, they kind of look at us as like, you know, almost like another parent or a big brother for a lot of these kids that come around us, whether they're training, come to train with us 3 or 4 times a week, or even playing our AAU program.